Chapter 17, 5:10 a.m.
Ooh, we're 2 hours from sunrise, I think.
The abandoned submarine continues to sink slowly but surely. Long, long journey to the bottom of the sea. Little lady found the darkness and the sea water closing in on them. At the very last second, something saved them. Now looks down at them quietly. My head is filled with one giant question. What in the world is this thing?
It's
Eek!
Ray. No, it's Sissel, isn't it? Oh
I,
God.
I love the added sunglasses.
He added sunglasses.
I see you managed to survive, detective. Hey, you're. Excuse my appearance. It seems I have lost my body. Oh, and you there. You're the ghost who's been saving Miss Lynn all evening, aren't you? You knew about me all along? Of course. What else would explain all those unnatural things happening? If you knew, how come you didn't do anything about it all this time? How come you decided to save us all of a sudden? I thought you wanted to get revenge on us. I don't really know. Please, you gotta tell me. I need to know. Who in the world are you? So look at you. What happened? I can't hold on to that image of myself any longer. You can't remember who you are? That's right. I came all this way tonight trying to chase down my lost memory. For quite a bit of tonight, I thought I was you, Sissel. Sissel, my name isn't Sissel. I bet you'll remember really soon who you are and who I am too. What? The man in front of me is not me. I'm even further away from the truth. Or maybe not. Something is stirring in my mind. A memory about to emerge. Do I know this man? Now that I've shed my image of myself, I feel like I'm one step closer to the truth.
I like how we shed our image, but we still kept the sunglasses.
I like how there's a cushion there.
Be also luxurious control room.
They got us good. It's all over for this submarine. Its engine room is destroyed. There's a hole in the hull, and it's sinking as we speak. What are you doing here? I thought you had to deal with those people. They betrayed me. I was a fool to trust them. They already have what they want now. A Temsic fragment. I didn't know how they all had it all figured out. You mean they figured out the source of your powers? Yeah, the meteorite's radiation has two effects on living creatures. Gives power and time. If you don't mind, we'd like to hear more. These 10 years, I've been watching that junkyard superintendent do his research. I think I kind of got some of it figured out. The meteorite's radiation gives spirits special powers, like possessing and manipulating objects. In my case, swapping objects. Exactly. Apparently, these are individual differences in the powers we get. And it seems these powers change as time goes by. They do? Yeah, my powers have changed over these past 10 years. At first, I could only manipulate small living creatures. Now then, how do you suppose we got these powers? It's simple. This, how then? In a nutshell, we died while exposed to the energy emitted by the meteorite, its radiation. That's what it does? Dying while being exposed to the radiation? On that day 10 years ago, a A fragment of that meteorite pierced my heart and I died. So of course I received special powers. Hey, wait a minute. Is that how I got my powers too? You know, you might be right. Vader.
We just left that crater there the whole time.
Aren't the Timsic remnants still there, right there in that park at the bottom of that crater? You're right. So that must have died in the presence of the meteorite's radiation too. Another effect the meteorite radiation has on us, it gives us time. Again, I think this time effect is centered around the theme of death. It's not all that clear. So the fact I can return to 4 minutes before a person's death is another effect of that meteorite. One of the characteristics of that meteorite is the ability to replay the moment of death. Replay the moment of death. Let's see, that's like 5 characters I have to voice right now.
I'm not envying you right now.
Alright, this is also strange and confusing. I can't take it in. Makes as much sense to me as anything else. Yeah, strange and confusing. That just about sums up the object that pierced my body that day. Thanks to that meteorite fragment. My very existence is a contradiction. What do you mean? That day, when the fragment pierced my heart, I lost my life. However, because it remained inside me, that fragment continued to constantly regenerate my body. In other words, my body was continuously cycling between the moments that separated my life and death. What? My body's vital function stopped 10 years ago, but my body's time is perpetually stopped at the moment just before death. Time just stopped, huh? So I simply existed, not really alive, not really dead. That pretty much sums up these last 10 years for me, since that incident in the park. My body hasn't aged a day, my hair hasn't grown an inch. And to think that the old pigeon guy mentioned something. Said he couldn't cut this guy's body with a scalpel. But I guess as soon as an incision was made, his body would be regenerated. Wow. Before I left this country, I wanted to do one thing. I want to get revenge on the people who stole our lives. Our lives? As part of the deal, I made those guys promise to cooperate. Cooperate? Do you mean the kidnapping? It all went fine. I manipulated the justice minister and made him issue the execution order. I thought he might call it off, the execution at the last second. So that's why he wanted his daughter kidnapped. But they kidnapped the wrong girl. Little did I know. They had their own reasons for cooperating with me. Huh? Their objective was to wipe out everybody who had to do with Temsic. Yeah, see, it's Mino.
Huh. You're right.
Gerald was one such person, so they were happy to cooperate. Abigail and Junkyard Super, they were slated to be wiped out too. And as it turns out, I was one of their targets as well. So they stole my Temsic fragment, and here I am. But they had one more final target. You. Me. If you weren't there in the park that day 10 years ago, Never would have thought of doing something as stupid as taking a hostage. Victim blaming much? Okay, but I was just a little
Yeah.
kid playing in the park. Yeah, I know. Huh? 10 years later, you become a detective looking into Giles' case. Tonight, I invited you to a quiet spot on the edge of town. It was a trap, you see. I told you who I was. You never saw my face that day 10 years ago, so of course you didn't recognize me.
Wow, he has fast movement and range.
I took possession of you to make you shoot me. Your subconscious resisted me. Such incredible power. It was the first time I wasn't able to control somebody completely. The aim was off. The first shot missed the mark.
Wait, does that mean the first shot hit us?
The junkyard was equipped with security cameras. I knew you'd be wanted for murder. That was my plan, anyway. But they had other ideas. They simply wanted you wiped out. But then, something threw a big monkey wrench into their scheme. I showed up. I was supposed to meet up with him after that, but then something went wrong. What happened? My body disappeared. Ah, the inspector in white was responsible for that one. My precious bargaining chip was in that body. I had to get it back no matter what. That inspector caused me no end of trouble. But why were those people targeting me? Never even heard of the Temsic meteorite. Because you were looking into the Joud case. They thought you would find out about Temsic sooner or later. And that's pretty much the whole story. The only thing left to do now is wait for the water pressure to crush the submarine. Oh no, there are no cores that link from here to the water surface. I have an idea. We hook up to a phone line and there are no communication cables down this deep. They meant for this submarine to be my coffin. Coffin for the dead. There's no escape. I think I kind of understand now. What you've been feeling these 10 years. What? This feeling, cut off from the world, all alone in a submarine, sinking slowly toward the bottom of an endless sea. That must be how you felt all along. And Camilla, is it true we're stuck here? What? Oh, my dad. My dad was here. I bet he'd save us. Oh, Camilla, I'm so sorry. That's funny. What is it, Sissel? There's something I don't understand. Why would they go to all the trouble of detaching the control room? What? Why didn't they just steal the Temsic fragment and escape if that's what they wanted? Why did they have to just send your body off into the sea? Hmm, that's a good question. I guess it doesn't matter why now. We'll never find it again. We have no idea where it launched to. Wait a minute. Yes, we do. This will tell us where Detective Jout is. A present from the Inspector in White. That's right, Detective Jout told me to hold on to it for him. But the bullet is still in that person's body in the command room, right? And we should be able to tell exactly where it is. But even if we find out where it is, how do we get there? We should be able to figure out something out between the three of us. With our powers, right, Miss Lin? Right. Oh, wait. What about... Wait a minute. What about a torpedo? A torpedo? In any case, it's way too early to give up. It looks like Detective Jout is our last hope. Come on, let's get started.
I like how you can try to open the door.
I also find out that's where they keep the grapes. Why is this machine shoving grapes at me? Well, this looks like the private cabinet of the top officer, doesn't it? The machine is probably for feeding him grapes while he lies in bed. Oh, it sounds heavenly. Been thinking about this for a while. But don't you think that country's use of technology is just a little off? Says the guy who made a deal with said country. Anyway, looks like the arm of the machine is a bit busted. The torpedo room, huh? There might be another torpedo left there. I'll go check it out. Oh, I got it. You're going to use a missile to ram the control room. I don't know about ram. We don't want blow Detective Jout up, but something like that. We'll climb up to the torpedo room too. Up is definitely safer. Okay, I'll see you there then.
What about the engine room, even though it's completely flooded? Oh, that was a quick transition.
I mean, they weren't going to make you like climb all the way up.
Fair enough.
It looks like the torpedoes can be launched manually with these switches. There are two tubes, so there should be one left. First thing we have to do is load into the tube. When it comes to missiles, you can count on me. I'll enter the coordinates of the command room into the torpedo. And I just turned on the backup power. We ought to be able to use the switches now. Okay, let's give it a try. Good luck. The switch won't budge. Maybe it's broken. I don't think the entire device is broken. Probably work if we just move the switch. Well, what will happen to these two ladies? I think that's up to us and our powers. What? This is no time to be standing around unsure of ourselves. Will you lend me your strength missile? Me? Of course I will. Count on it.
Now, why does the top switch pull out the bottom missile? Torpedo gone.
There we go. That torpedo looks serviceable. All set on this end, too. But something's odd. What is? The command room. It looks like it's slowly sinking. Sinking? Yeah, it looks like it's completely run out of power. I wonder what happened. I don't know, but I guess I'll find out.
Detective Jout's gonna be dead, isn't he?
Right, okay, hop into the missile. I'll launch it for you. Okay, thanks.
It's a torpedo. You can talk to them. There's too much dialogue for you though.
I already set the torpedo's course. They'll head to towards the command room where Detective Jout is. 12 seconds after launching, it will pass by the command room in an instant. That instant will be your window for the opportunity to jump over to the command room. Okay, got it. Then we'll find a way to come back and save you. That'll probably be my last task tonight. Just hold on until we get back. Okay, come on, Missile. Missile. I'm sorry, I can't go. What? I just can't. How could I leave? I can't leave Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla behind. I can't do it. Missile. I swapped the switches so the missile can be launched. You have to do the rest, Sissel. Can't do it either. Can't ask Missile to come with me after that. I understand exactly how he feels. I want you to go, Missile. What? But Miss Lynn? You staying here won't change her fate. But if you go with Sissel, you might be able to make something happen. That's our only hope. But if that something doesn't happen, I'll never be able to see you again. Never ever again. Even I can understand that. I couldn't stand it. Don't worry, Missile. Miss Camilla. I just know you and Sissy can make something happen. I believe in you. I'll be right here waiting for you. We'll see each other then. Don't worry. Miss Camilla! Okay, yeah, this is actually really sad. That's a good boy, Missile. Now, are you ready? Remember, it's 12 seconds after I throw the switch. We're ready. Sissel. Yes? We never found out who you really were. But that doesn't matter now. All I know is I'm truly glad I met you tonight. Thank you for everything. I'm glad I met you, Detective. But we're going to see each other again, right, Sissy? Right, Missile? That's right, we promised, little lady. Of course we will! I'll never forget you, no matter what happens. Here goes then. Good luck, friend.
Now, what if we use the Temsek meteorite fragment and go back in time all the way before the meteorite landed? You're not saying anything, so I'm guessing that's...
These 12 seconds are lasting an eternity. I strive to think of a way to save Lynn and the little lady the whole time. But how can a ray of light reach this far down into the deep sea? Before I think of an answer, the 12 seconds are up.
It's one way to do it. And he's dead.
I love how it's the same position he was dead in, like at the morgue.
Yep.
Detective Child! I bet that big masked man did this. I'm going to bite him. Better not, you might break your teeth. The command room has lost power and is sinking. So I wonder what that masked man is going to do. Let's talk to Child. Sorry for the wait.
Who are you? Are you Sissel? That's because we don't have our appearance anymore.
Please excuse my appearance.
I can't believe you made it here. How's Camilla? And what about Lynn?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I told Detective Child everything that happened on the submarine Yanoa.
So the submarine is badly damaged? Why would he do that to his own submarine?
I wish I knew. I know the answer to that one. It's because he's afraid of my powers. You followed us? I didn't even notice. It's been 10 long years, Detective.
Are you Yomiel? How do you say that?
So you remember me, do you?
How could I possibly forget?
So that's your real name, huh? Yomio? That's right. But those people on the Yunoa called you Sissel. That's just an alias I was using for my deal with them. I didn't see any need to tell them my real name. Would you do me a favor? Would you let me ask you some questions? Been trying to find out my true identity all night. Sure, go ahead. Sure, there's plenty we can still tell you, right, Detective? Wait. Oh, sorry.
Right. 10 years ago. You were a top systems engineer, weren't you?
Systems engineer, what's that? By the way, I'm a Pomeranian, you know. Of course he is.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, it's kind of hard to explain to a dog, but as a person who's good at using computers.
I don't mean to brag, but I was one of the best in the industry. That's how I got roped into joining that project. Project? What project? It was a project aimed at reorganizing the nation's top secret information. The goal was to build a new system using multi-dimensional programming theory. I was asked to join the project by an agent of the government. Doesn't sound like something a top Pomeranian would know anything about. To me, it sounded like another challenging job. However, this project was also the target of a secret plot. That you can imagine the kind of crime that the top nation's secrets might attract. I never thought for the life of me I even have to deal with spies.
It was never made public, but every organization in the country moved on in this one. And then one day, the name of a certain programmer emerged as a suspect.
I was the guy who built the core of the system.
The police arrested you, and then that incident happened.
He escaped from the interrogation room and took Lil Lin as a hostage.
Wait, does that technically make him innocent?
By the
Oh, I
way,
mean,
detective, when was it that I was proven innocent?
about 6 months after your death. I'm so sorry, Yomiya.
10 years ago. My soul was split from my body and I lost everything. I was sealed in eternal darkness. I existed in this world, no question about that. But nobody noticed my presence. What good were my powers? They didn't help anybody. Not even the passage of time could heal my pain. In fact, it only made it worse. I wanted to disappear, but I wasn't even allowed to do that. Wei Lin described it exactly right. Sinking slowly towards the bottom of an endless sea. An overwhelming feeling of loneliness and despair. I wanted all of you to suffer what I was suffering.
And so that's why you murdered Alma.
That's right. Wanted, wanted you to know what it was like to lose everything you cared about. I wanted you to feel the same pain that I felt.
What? What?
It was the twisted wish of a mind poisoned by infinite loneliness. And then, as I was plotting my revenge, I had an idea. Came up with a plan to use these powers of mine to make a deal.
There's something I just don't understand about that deal. I'm sure your powers would be very valuable to them. But What would you get out of the deal?
A new life.
Life.
I asked them for two conditions. Number one was that they help me with my revenge plot. The second was rebirth for me.
Rebirth? A new beginning? Eh?
I didn't care if it was a fake life, an artificial life. I just wanted a physical receptacle for my soul, a name, identity, and everyday life. I wanted to grow old in a society that would accept me. Finally, I wanted to die surrounded by a loving family. That's the kind of life I asked them for.
A completely man made life.
That's right, I knew I couldn't hope for anything more than that. Make it all come true, I knew it would take a lot of money and a lot of power. That's why I decided to ask the national government to help me. Their response in the end was betrayal. They were making their moves much more carefully than I suspected. They sent spies to this country and researched my powers on their own. And they even figured out what Temsik was all about.
And you had no idea they were doing all this?
Not at all. I was a fool. So then, why did they go out to all the trouble of making a deal with you? Why didn't they just steal a hunk of the Temsik meteorite from the park? They couldn't. Huh?
Well, that answers that.
After the manipulator incidents, research was conducted in this country too. Report was submitted to the government about the source of the manipulator's power. Inspector Cabanella and that old pigeon guy, eh? At first, the government didn't believe the report. But then they decided to put the park under surveillance just in case. Surveillance, huh? It just looks like an ordinary peaceful park, but there are armed agents there at all times. Don't tell me that odd leafy guy's wife.
No. God.
No, not him. He's just a plain old odd person.
Oh, okay.
The park is like a silent battlefield on an international scale.
So that's why they couldn't steal the Temsik meteorite.
Lately, under the pretense of building a housing site, they've been working on a plan to destroy that park in order to secure the Temsik meteorite. So that's it, eh?
So the upshot of your grand deal was this, eh?
Yeah, it's the ending I deserve.
But at least there's one thing you must be happy about.
What's that?
You've managed to steal me away at the bottom of the sea forever.
Well, shall we get started? Started with what?
Started with. Oh, my bad.
I mean, you could voice him. That would help me out.
Oh, yeah, if you want me, I can start voicing the actual Yomiel here.
Bringing Detective Chow back to life, of course.
What? What good would that do now?
But we promise. We promised Miss Lynn and Miss Camilla we saved them. We can't do that without you, Detective. I've been guided by fate tonight to this place. I won't give up now.
Alright, fine. Let's see where it leads us.
Here we go again, back to 4 minutes before your death.
So, where are we headed?
We are not headed anywhere, Detective.
What?
There was only enough fuel on board to launch us away, Detective. We will run out soon, and that will be our destination, Detective.
What are you talking about? That would mean that you're trapped in here too. Is he taking off his...
By the way, I am not human, Detective. I am a remote-controlled robot.
What? Your country's use of technology is just plain off.
We get that a lot.
Why would you go through all this trouble to do this? There's nothing but a shell there. It's hardly a threat anymore.
Commander Sith likes to provide any against any possibility, no matter how small.
Possibility? What are you talking about?
There's no need for you to know. Now it is time to say goodbye, Detective. In the end, your fate remains the same, it seems.
Grr. Camilla, forgive me.
It isn't over yet. It isn't. Remember what that big masked man said? Any possibility, no matter how small.
Possibility.
In other words, there must be a chance here somewhere. Possibility of turning this situation around.
I like how the moment I was like, yeah, I'll take over Yomiel for you. He just doesn't have any lines whatsoever.
Huh?
Oh,
Sorry. What is it, Detective?
look at Yomiel's shell.
There's no aura emanating from his body.
Of course there isn't. The Temsik fragment is gone.
Could this change in his shell give him some kind of lead?
I figured it out. I know what this possibility, no matter how small, is of that they're afraid of.
What is it?
My time was perpetually stopped thanks to the power of Temsik.
His body cycled between the moments that separated his life and death.
Right, but not anymore. The Temsik fragment has been taken away. Exactly. So what does that mean?
I get it. Your body won't come back to life anymore.
The moment the Temsik fragment was removed, my shell became a regular corpse.
So let's see, that means you can go back to 4 minutes before your death. Also, yet again, something you called.
Oh god.
But wait a minute. Exactly when is that death?
10 years ago. That's simple. We'll find out. When we get there, let's move. God.
You're really intuitive, you know that?
You know, I didn't mean to be this intuitive. Like, I kept joking. I jokingly said, oh yeah, we're gonna go back 10 years and stop him from dying after. God. We really are.
I fell back through the cracks of time for what seemed like forever. Then I saw it. The final death at the end of this long night. Who exactly am I? I've already seen all the clues. All I have to do now is remember. Final journey to the truth starts now.